Now, my name is Lamont Sadler, and I'm a proud alum of Uncommon Schools. I'm so excited to have the chance to moderate a panel discussion today with parents and advocates who are fighting for change. So, let's give it up for our wonderful panel that is on the stage with me today. Thank you. Now, before we begin, here are a few words about today's panel. First, we want this panel to be really thought-provoking. I hope that our panelists will challenge all of us in the room today to think about what role we are going to play as parents and advocates for this cause and for education equality. And second, we all know the barriers to inequality, or we all know the barriers to equality that our schools and our scholars face every single day. But if we're truly going to reach our goal of, look up there, 200,000 by 2020, woo! Yes, 200,000 by 2020. Then we all need to challenge ourselves and speak out. Now, let me introduce our wonderful panelists. All right, so first, all the way on my far left, we have Ms. Kathleen Daniel. Her two kids, Marcel and Christine, are Uncommon School scholars. Kathleen has been a vocal advocate for charter schools for years, and she is also active in local Brooklyn politics. I'm sure many of you have seen her at various community events, talking to politicians and spreading the word on issues that we all deeply care about. Our next panelist is Sulma Arzu Brown, all the way on my far right. Sulma is the mother of Bella Victoria and Suleni, who both attend Girls Prep Bronx. Bronx Prep, represent. Sulma is also the Director of Operations at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the author of Pelo Mal No Existe. I hope I got that right, did I? And that's good. And a prominent activist and community leader. Our third panelist is Rosemary Valdez. Rosemary has two children, Dee Marie and Justin, who attend KIPP schools right now. And one child, Jordan, who has graduated from KIPP and is involved in the KIPP Through College program, which is amazing. Give it up for Justin. Definitely. She's been a part of the KIPP community for 11 years, and she manages advocacy at KIPP Washington Heights Middle School. And our final panelist, Edwin Cespedes. He and his son, Athos, were a founding family at Success Academy, Rosedale. Athos is now in the third grade at Success Academy, Williamsburg, and over the years, Edwin has been extremely active in parent council and spoken to elected officials on behalf of his school, right? Yes. Let's give it up for Edwin for all that advocacy. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. So let's give it up one more time for all our panelists. I know that's a lot of clapping. I'm sorry. All right. So our first question is for you, Kathleen. Tell us a little more about your journey. How did you become an active advocate for public charter schools?
Well, to tell the truth, I did not choose to be an advocate. I never applied for that, right? I chose to be a mom, and I choose to send my kids to the best possible public school there is so that they've got a great shot at a great future, because they deserve it, right? What mom thinks differently? So my son Marcel went to Excellence Boys Charter School, and he won the lottery outright. He was like number 10. I was ecstatic. But then I had a little girl, and she couldn't go to the boys' school. So we applied for a bunch of charter schools, and she was waitlisted on every single one. I gotta keep it real. I was ready to set Brooklyn on fire, okay, for my little girl. And we got lucky. 3 weeks before school started, she got off of one wait list and started at Leadership Prep Ocean Hill, which is an amazing school. And that is when I started to get active, because the principal invited me to, right? What wouldn't you do for your kid's school? It's part of being an active parent. They said, help us renew our charter. I said, sure, what do I have to do? They said, just tell people what you think about the school and what your experience is. And I did, and after that, an advocate was born. That's when I found out that my daughter was so lucky, because now, today, there are 44,000 children on wait lists in America. 44,000 children waiting to learn, waiting to go to an excellent school so they have a bright future. And that's not what our children deserve. And so I became an advocate, and I am willing to leave Brooklyn and come to Albany. I am willing to leave Albany and march on Washington. I'm willing to stop any legislator at the supermarket, the parking lot, wherever it takes, so I can look them in the eye and speak truth to power. And the truth is, when you get upstairs, tell them the truth. Look them in the eye. They are here to represent our children. They are here to protect and preserve the future of our communities. And I don't know if you heard it, but the future are our kids. So look power in the eye and let them know today we have amazing children and they have a bright future. And legislators need to support them and clear the path to possible.
So Suma, the next question is for you. We have a goal, and we're gathered here today to double the number of children being served in charter schools, to get to 200,000 by 2020. Why is this important to you?
Thank you for the question, Lamont. You know, when you ask me that question, the only thing that comes to my mind, to be honest with you, is the number 6. The number 6. That was the number that got my daughter, Suleni, into Girls Prep Bronx. She was number 6 on that list. And my parents, my husband, it was a family celebration because we knew at that point that my daughter was gonna have the best education possible without having to sacrifice even the college funds that we have for her. And when I look at all the kids here, I only see a number 6. You guys are so blessed and so lucky because there are 44,000 kids that are still in the waiting list. Tu primo, tu amiga, tu hermano, maybe one of those kids. So we need our elected officials to really understand and support that path to possible. Because I'm almost sure that their family members and some of them may be waitlisted too. And we do not want that. One of the things that charter school provided for my family and I was the opportunity to just stay in our community. Because I kid you not, and I'll be really frank with you, we would have moved out of the Hunts Point area of the Bronx just to find that better education in a different community. But this charter school made it possible for us to stay and to give that example to our kids that you do not abandon your community, and to give that example to your kids that you have to get involved in order to make things better. To give that example to our kids is this is where change happens. That is how change happens. And community members and all of us combining our efforts and using our voices for progress and for the good, for crying out loud, for the love of our kids, that is how change happens. And when I think of the number 100,000, I seriously think it's a very humble ask. Very humble ask. And that 100,000 number will not only take care of the kids that are on the waiting list, which is 44,000, but it will also allow more kids, tu primo otra vez, tu hermana, tu amigo, tu vecino, to get an amazing education and stay in their neighborhoods. So what I'm asking today, what we're all asking, is for our elected officials to really just put yourselves in our shoes. Become the number 6. Put yourself in the 44,000 wait list. And goodness gracious, just create that path to possible for all of us. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. So I think let's have Edwin. How about you take our next question, all right? All right, so in the last 2.5 years, Mayor de Blasio's DEO has denied dozens of public classroom space requests from charter schools. Do you think that the mayor is trying to stifle charter school growth?
That's actually a very interesting question, man. Thank you for that. And thank you also, Kathleen Sulman, the senator, and all of you for being here today. So let me start with some facts first. Fact, right now, there are more than 140,000 spaces in the city for our kids to go to. So this number, you hear me right, is 140,000 seats that are open today around the city for our kids to go to. Now, this number comes literally from their own city data information. So space is not the problem. I think the real problem is the mayor is more concerned with supporting special interest groups that might not be supportive of our charter schools. And that's the real issue. So you see, I know what is to go to a public hearing and fight for a space for my kid to sit in a classroom. I mean, all of hearing after hearing just to make sure that the school is open, and after that the school is renewed. So if the space is there, what we need to do is make sure that the mayor listens to our message. Because there is a disconnect between what the mayor is saying and what the mayor is actually doing. So he might say that he's not against our public charter schools, but the reality is he keeps on freezing the space over and over again. He keeps on delaying the process. So we need to make sure that the mayor listens to a message. There's 100,000 families right now that love our public charter schools. And like everyone's been saying it, like the senator just said, there are over 40,000 families that are supporting the charter schools that are on the waiting list, begging for a space, that the space is right there and the mayor is not giving us. So the message is very, very clear. Necesitamos el espacio para nuestros hijos estudiar. We need the space and we need it now.
We need the space and we need it now. Wonderfully said. Thank you for that, Edwin. And we have one more question for you, Rosemary. What about our leaders here in Albany? What exactly do our children need from them, you know?
Well, I just want to say to all the parents out there, it's been 11 years since I joined the KIPP team and family, and this is the very first time that I stand to speak to legislators. As you can well see, I am very nervous and I am not very outspoken, but I know it's very important for me to be here and stand up for all of New York City kids and my own kids. They need to get the equity they deserve. So we're very lucky to have a lot of champions here in Albany, but we need to let them know what we need for them to support us and what our children need to get from them. We need them to know that we have been forced to fight for classroom space, and we have been forced to fight for fair funding for our kids. This is very important for our future. At KIPP, we talk a lot about character education. We want our kids to excel in academics, but we also want our kids to grow into future leaders. Our kids are the ones who are going to be representing our communities. And our kids may very well be the elected officials we put in office one day. We need our current legislators to set up positive examples for our kids, to be role models so that our kids could be the leaders we want and we need.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Rosemary, for that wonderful response. Can we give it up for all of our panelists? Thank you. Yes, wonderful. Wonderful. Now, I can tell you as a graduate of charter schools myself that this matters. I wouldn't be in college today. I wouldn't be on the path to graduate in 2018 if this didn't matter. So I would like for you all, advocates, parents, every single one in this room today to give it up for yourselves because this is possible. It is possible. Thank you so much. Now, remember that you can ask your elected officials here in Albany to stand for equal opportunity for all public school students today. And you can do that by texting PATH, P-A-T-H, to 52886. Also, if you're taking any great pictures or selfies today, share them on social media with the hashtag #PathToPossible. Now, before we close our panel portion of today, I just want to challenge everyone in the room to make a commitment. And here's the question I have for you. What is one additional thing that you are going to do to become a more active advocate? I mean, we've seen the diverse panel we have up here. Action, that's all it takes, you know? And what's one idea you heard from our panelists that inspired you to do something more? Now, on your ride back to the city today, spend some time thinking about that. Now, here's one quick and easy way to get more involved in advocacy online. And right now, tell your elected officials here in Albany to stand for equal opportunity for public school students by texting again PATH, P-A-T-H, to 52886. Again, that's PATH 52886. And I sincerely thank you all very much. But before we end, we got to take a selfie, all right? On 3, let's all scream Path to Possible. This is for the world to see that we are standing with our kids. Y'all ready? Let's do a little practice. Path to Possible. 1, 2, 3. A little bit louder. 1, 2, 3. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all ready?